Hey Marcus, how you doing? Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. I got your PDF up here. And there are some things missing from the assignment. There's some things that you've done just beautifully, and we'll talk about both of those. But let's go ahead and take a look at the requirements for this week. So what is due? So we have ideation on the problem. So it's just kind of recapping the problem. Then we have established personas and at least one scenario. I recommend 3 personas. Create two is okay, but I recommend 3. I think it's more complete. Create wireframe sketches of all screens. Create a storyboard of the scenario, and then create paper prototypes. Now we're missing the paper prototypes, and we're missing. I'll talk about the wireframes in a second, but let's go ahead and take a look. So, cool car logo here. This is good setup. Okay, and I understand it's a work in progress, but don't forget we have to include in this process book the work from week 1, which was the ideation of the problem. All right, so define the problem, and then define how your app. So really set this up. Assume that the viewer has no clue what they're looking at here, and they're just starting out. So you have product vision. The auto enthusiast market is growing every year. This application will serve a specific purpose currently unavailable. We'll describe it. Describe the purpose. Okay, so what you're going to do is in your process book here, you're going to say ideation of the problem is the first thing. So you're going to define the problem and then talk about how the app might rectify that issue. Then you're going to define the target audience to a very, very high degree. You're going to list the 3 main functions of the app and then talk about the pros and the cons of the competition. Now that's from last week. Those were last week's requirements. So they'll be, so as I said in last week's announcement, this week's announcement, we're scaffolding off of last week. So everything we do in week 1 should be included in week 2's process book. Everything we do in week 2 and week 1 should be included in week 3's process book, and so on and so forth. So we need to in this process book, we would need the target audience, the 3 main functions, the ideation of the problem, and then competition. Okay, so week 2, we're going to recap the ideation, define the problem the app is trying to solve, and define the ideal user. So you would start that way. Then what we need to do is these are some of the best persona pages I've ever seen. This is outstanding. Tech literacy, auto IQ, communication. This is excellent stuff right here. Outstanding. As I said, these are the best personas I've seen. But make sure you title your page so we know these are personas. Okay, at this point, what you do is you would take these personas. Here's your storyboard right here. Your storyboard should be based on your persona. So take the individual, take Alex, and put her right in the storyboard. Okay, now. These are really interesting sketches and really interesting work. I think they're showing a great deal of proficiency in sketching. I think they're actually really amazing. This is really good stuff. I don't think they're necessarily complete storyboards, but they're definitely getting there. So, okay, and then I think at this point we just don't know enough about the app. So what do? Do you scan the VIN number? Is there a capability of taking a picture of the car and finding it there, searching it there? And then at that point, I think we really need to depict these wireframes. Right now, wireframes are not complete. These should be sketches. These should not be digital. And the reason they should be sketches is because you're going to use these wireframe sketches for your user testing. So you really want to sketch these out, be neat as possible, but the reason we sketch is so that they can be changed on the fly quickly and immediately based on your user testing. So right now you've got the car question mark. So what you want to do is you just want these wireframes to be as complete as possible. I mean, really depicting everything. So in other words, the first page would probably be setting up a user profile and a password, right? And then going and setting that up and then going to where do you go from there? Right now, this just shows a question mark. So what screen do we go from once we set up the user profile? Now, how do we use it? So you would have these different situations. You would ask the testing subject, okay, so where would you press on this screen to start a search for a new vehicle? Okay, so and that would be the next logical. So we have car, then we have set up user profile, then we have the first page. So identify a car, maybe it could be called. Then you could have the scan or make, model, trim. How do we know the make, model, and trim if we don't know what the car is? That's another question that I have. Okay, so could we add a feature where you can take a picture and it will identify the car. Then you can start looking at what's available in that car. So I think it's a really good idea. It's just not quite fully fleshed out yet. Okay, so what is missing from this assignment? Of course, so of course I said the stuff from week 1, target market, 3 main functions, competition. Then we need ideation. Recap the idea here in your setup, and then we go to establish your personas. So here's your personas. You've got 2. I recommend 3, but 2 is fine. And then create wireframe sketches of all of the screens. I'll show you examples of that right now. Then storyboards you've got, and then we need paper prototypes. Let me show you what we have. Now this example here is available over in the week 2 examples and the course announcements, so you can take a look at this at your leisure. But anyways, problem, solution, main features and functions, target market, competition. Then we have our personas. Okay, and then we have 3 personas, and then over here we have this. This is a scenario based on the persona. Okay, so that we're taking the persona and adding them into a scenario where we can show the need of where is the user when they're confronting and overcoming the problem by using your app. Okay, so it's a really good idea to use an actual individual from your personas in your scenario. Okay, now this is where it really gets tricky. We need wireframe sketches of all the frames associated with the app. Okay, all frames in their sketches. You got to do this quickly because you'll quite likely you're going to be creating new wireframe sketches in the testing stage. So all frames need to be sketched out in wireframes. This is really important that we get this done because we're starting user testing this week and these have got to be done. So those are wireframe sketches, and then we have paper prototypes, and this is the actual screens in the wireframes. They're actually cut out and assembled on this kind of mock phone, and this is what you would use. These paper prototypes are what you would use for your testing. Okay, so here's what you would say. You would put these in front of your test subject, and you would say, okay, where would you press to set up your profile and username? They would select that, and they would set up their profile and username. And then the next question would be, where would you go to do this function? And then they would press, and you would make notes, and then where would you go to do this? And they would point on the screen where they would go to do that. Then you would change the screen to depicting the screen that they go to when they make their selection. Put that screen in there, ask your next user testing question, and record your data all the way through. Okay, so that is really the main thing, is we need paper prototypes and sketches of all screens in the for the wireframes. Okay, so those are my recommendations moving forward. Now I know that it's a kind of a confusing setup here, so if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you need any clarifications whatsoever, please let me know. But that's what we're looking at, and again, this is really important. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, great. Thank you very much.